Listen carefully, because what we're about to discuss may change the way you interpret complaints, criticism, mood changes, and that frustrating feeling that nothing you do is ever enough. A man can work harder, become more attentive, spend more time at home, plan better dates, provide more, apologize faster, and still hear that something is missing. He fixes one problem and another appears. He changes one habit and suddenly something else becomes the issue. After enough years of this, many men begin asking themselves a dangerous question: what is wrong with me? But what if the answer is not always you? There are women who carry dissatisfaction into a relationship long before a man enters their life. Expectations, childhood experiences, comparison, unresolved resentment, emotional habits, and the constant belief that something better should be happening can make satisfaction extremely difficult. When a man does not understand this, he can spend years adjusting himself around a problem that was never completely created by his behavior. And that is where many good men lose themselves. They begin monitoring every word, explaining every decision, apologizing just to end arguments, and measuring their worth by whether the woman beside them is pleased that day. I'm your host, Isabella, and stay with me until the end because we're going to break down why some women can appear permanently dissatisfied, why the target keeps moving even when a man tries harder, and most importantly, how to recognize when you are dealing with a relationship problem you can improve versus an emotional pattern you cannot fix for another person. Understanding that difference can save a man years of unnecessary guilt, confusion, and exhaustion. The first thing a man has to understand is that dissatisfaction does not always begin inside the relationship. Sometimes it was already there years before he arrived. A woman may enter a new relationship carrying disappointment from childhood, unresolved resentment from previous partners, insecurity about herself, or a habit of focusing more on what is missing than on what is already good. At the beginning, attraction can temporarily cover all of that. Everything feels exciting, new, hopeful. She laughs more, appreciates more, and seems genuinely satisfied. Then normal life returns, and the older emotional patterns begin showing themselves again. This is why some men become confused after the honeymoon stage. The woman who once praised his ambition now complains that he works too much. The independence she admired becomes emotional distance. His confidence becomes stubbornness. His attention becomes excessive. Something that once attracted her can suddenly become evidence that he is doing something wrong. The man naturally assumes he needs to correct himself. So he changes, he works fewer hours, he becomes more affectionate, he asks more questions, he becomes more available. For a short period, things improve, then another complaint replaces the old one. That moving target matters because it tells you something important. When satisfaction depends entirely on external circumstances, no external circumstance can satisfy someone permanently. A new house creates excitement until it becomes ordinary. A promotion feels impressive until someone else earns more. A romantic gesture feels special until it becomes expected. This is where many men make their first major mistake. They interpret every expression of unhappiness as instructions for what they must change. Sometimes the real issue is not the man standing in front of her. It is the way she has learned to experience life itself. One of the deepest places this pattern can begin is childhood. Long before a woman enters her first serious relationship, she may already have learned what love, conflict, disappointment, and partnership are supposed to look like simply by watching the adults around her. Children absorb far more than people realize. They notice how their mother speaks about their father, how disagreements are handled, whether affection is given freely, whether resentment is carried for years, and whether happiness seems normal or suspicious. If a girl grows up watching constant criticism between her parents, that atmosphere can become familiar. She may consciously promise herself that her own relationship will be different, yet later find herself repeating the same reactions she once disliked. Not because she deliberately chooses misery, but because familiar emotional patterns can feel strangely normal. The same thing can happen when a father is absent, unpredictable, dismissive, or emotionally unavailable. Some women may enter adulthood expecting men to disappoint them. That expectation can affect how they interpret ordinary mistakes. A forgotten errand becomes proof that he does not care. A tired evening becomes evidence that he is emotionally distant. A disagreement feels like confirmation that men cannot be trusted. And once someone expects disappointment, they often notice every piece of evidence that supports that belief while overlooking what contradicts it. This is why a man can sometimes feel as though he is being judged for offenses he never committed. He may be responding not only to what is happening between the two of them today, but also to emotional expectations formed years before they ever met. Understanding this does not excuse disrespect or constant criticism. It simply helps a man recognize that some relationship reactions have roots far deeper than the argument happening in front of him. Another major source of dissatisfaction is the gap between expectation and reality. Many women enter relationships carrying an image of what love is supposed to feel like. That image may come from childhood fantasies, romantic movies, social media, friends, family, or years of imagining the perfect partner. The problem begins when ordinary life fails to match the picture in her head. Real relationships include bills, tired evenings, responsibilities, disagreements, routines, and imperfect people. A man can be loyal, hardworking, affectionate, and dependable, yet still falls short of an expectation that was never realistic in the first place. If she believes love should constantly feel exciting, then stability starts to look boring. If she expects a man to understand her without being told what she needs, normal communication begins to feel disappointing. If she expects marriage to heal insecurity, loneliness, or old emotional wounds, she may eventually blame the relationship when those feelings remain. Then the comparison begins. She sees another woman receiving flowers and wonders why hers are not as impressive. She sees a vacation online and suddenly the trip her husband planned feels ordinary. She sees someone showing off a new house, anniversary gift, or romantic surprise and starts measuring her own relationship against a carefully selected moment from somebody else's life. What she does not see is everything outside the photograph. She does not see the debt, arguments, loneliness, betrayal, or private problems that may exist behind the image. She only sees what appears better than what she has. And once comparison becomes a habit, satisfaction becomes almost impossible. No matter what a man provides, there will always be someone online who appears to have more. The relationship stops being judged by its actual quality and starts being judged against an endless collection of other people's best moments. This is where another pattern becomes important. The moment something becomes familiar, it can start losing emotional value. What once felt exciting becomes ordinary. What once felt special becomes expected. And when a woman has learned to measure happiness by constant emotional stimulation, she may begin devaluing the very things she once desperately wanted. When she was single, she wanted a dependable man. She finds one, and after a while, his dependability feels predictable. She wanted attention. He gives it consistently, and eventually she calls him clingy. She wanted stability. He builds a stable life with her, and suddenly she complains that everything feels boring. She wanted commitment. Once she has it, she begins wondering whether she settled too soon. Notice what is happening. The man may not have changed very much at all. What changed is the emotional value attached to what he provides. This is why some men feel as if they are constantly chasing a finish line that keeps moving. They believe, once I earn more, she'll relax. He earns more. Now the house is too small. They move. Now they do not travel enough. He plans vacations. Now she says they lack emotional connection. The problem is that satisfaction based entirely on the next achievement rarely lasts. Every improvement quickly becomes the new normal, and the mind starts searching for the next missing piece. A man who does not recognize this can become trapped in permanent performance mode. He keeps proving, providing, adjusting, and upgrading, believing the next effort will finally create lasting appreciation. But if someone cannot value what they already have, giving them more does not necessarily create gratitude. Sometimes it simply gives dissatisfaction a larger stage on which to operate. Another reason unhappiness can keep growing is that many relationships begin with performance instead of complete honesty. At the start, people naturally show their best side. A woman may appear more easygoing than she really is, more agreeable about certain habits, more comfortable with the lifestyle she actually dislikes, or more interested in activities she only tolerated because she wanted the relationship to work. None of this has to be calculated manipulation. Sometimes she is simply trying to become the version of herself she believes will be loved, but maintaining that version becomes exhausting. Months or years later, the real preferences begin appearing. She no longer wants to overlook the habits she once ignored. She becomes less willing to participate in things she never genuinely enjoyed. She starts expressing frustrations she kept quiet during the beginning. To the man, it can feel as though she completely changed. To her, it may feel as though she has finally stopped pretending. That creates resentment on both sides. He thinks, why wasn't this a problem before? She thinks, why should I keep hiding what I really feel? And suddenly the relationship is filled with complaints about things that seemed perfectly acceptable when they first met. The deeper problem is what happens when a woman has spent years building her identity around what other people expect from her. She may choose the partner that looks right, the lifestyle that impresses family, the career that earns approval, or the marriage that appears successful from the outside. Yet privately, she can still feel disconnected from the life she created. When someone does not know what genuinely satisfies them, they keep changing external circumstances, hoping the next adjustment will finally feel right. And the man beside her can easily become the person blamed when it never does. Another layer appears when a woman has spent years being told that love should constantly prove her value. She may grow up hearing that she deserves the best, that the right man should know how to treat her without being asked, that he should provide security, romance, attention, excitement, emotional support, and still somehow never disappoint her. Those messages can sound empowering at first, but when expectations become unlimited, ordinary relationships begin to look like failure. The problem is not wanting to be treated well. Every person should expect respect. The problem begins when appreciation disappears and entitlement takes its place. A man may be loyal, responsible, and present, yet every contribution becomes something he was supposed to do anyway. His effort is no longer noticed. His sacrifices become invisible. Meanwhile, every mistake receives immediate attention. He can do 9 things right and still spend the evening defending the 10th. Over time, this creates a dangerous imbalance. The woman begins evaluating the relationship almost entirely through what she is receiving, while the man begins measuring himself by how successfully he keeps her satisfied. That is when respect can slowly disappear. And without respect, affection alone cannot hold a relationship together. A woman who constantly sees her partner as inadequate will eventually speak to him differently, criticize him more easily, and become less interested in understanding his side. The man, desperate to restore harmony, may respond by giving even more. But giving more to someone who has stopped appreciating what is already being given rarely solves the problem. It often teaches the relationship that dissatisfaction gets rewarded. And that is why some men eventually discover that trying harder was never the missing ingredient. What was missing was mutual appreciation, realistic expectations, and the ability of both people to recognize value before they lose it. Another pattern that can keep a woman unhappy is the habit of testing the relationship instead of simply living inside it. She may say she wants stability, then create tension to see how much the man will tolerate. She may ask for reassurance, receive it, then question whether he really meant it. She may push him away, then become upset when he gives her space. From the outside, it can look irrational, but often the deeper issue is that peace itself feels unfamiliar. A woman who grew up around conflict may become suspicious when everything is calm. Stability can feel temporary. Kindness can feel like something that will eventually disappear. So instead of enjoying a good moment, she starts looking for the hidden problem. She asks questions she already knows will create an argument. She brings up old mistakes during peaceful evenings. She watches his reactions closely, searching for proof that disappointment is coming. And sometimes she creates the very outcome she fears. The more she tests him, the more exhausted he becomes. The more exhausted he becomes, the less patient he is. Then his frustration becomes proof in her mind that she was right not to trust the peace in the first place. Comparison makes this worse. Every new engagement, vacation, anniversary post, or expensive gift she sees can quietly restart the question, did I choose the wrong life? Instead of asking whether her own relationship is healthy, she begins asking whether someone else appears to have something better. That is how a good relationship can be slowly damaged without one dramatic event ever taking place. And for the man, the lesson is important. You cannot build permanent security for someone who constantly tests whether security is real. At some point, she has to recognize the pattern herself. Otherwise, every calm season becomes another opportunity to create the storm she was already expecting. There is another stage where unhappiness stops being just an emotion and starts becoming part of someone's identity. If a woman has spent years complaining, comparing, feeling disappointed, and receiving attention whenever she is upset, dissatisfaction can become the way she understands herself. She may not consciously choose it, but being unhappy becomes familiar. It gives her something to talk about, something to blame, and sometimes even a sense of connection with other people who communicate mainly through complaints. That is why solving one problem does not always create lasting relief. A man may think, if I can just fix this one issue, things will finally settle down. He fixes it, and for a short time, everything improves. Then another problem appears, another disappointment, another complaint, another reason why life is not good enough. And if every emotional difficulty is immediately blamed on the relationship, the man becomes the permanent suspect. He is not attentive enough. Then he becomes more attentive, and suddenly he is overwhelming. He is not ambitious enough. Then he works harder, and now he is never home. He does not communicate enough. Then he starts explaining himself, and now she says he talks too much instead of listening. At some point, a man has to stop asking only, "What can I change?" and start asking, "Does this person know how to take responsibility for her own emotional life?" That question matters. Healthy relationships require two adults who can examine themselves. A woman should be able to admit when she is being unfair, recognize when expectations are unrealistic, appreciate what is going well, and distinguish between genuine mistreatment and ordinary disappointment. Without that ability, the man will keep carrying responsibility for emotions that were never fully his to manage. And no amount of love can replace self-awareness in the person who refuses to look inward. The hardest lesson for many men is accepting that love does not give you the power to manufacture happiness inside another person. You can be loyal, supportive, generous, affectionate, patient, and still live beside someone who remains dissatisfied because the source of that dissatisfaction exists deeper than anything you can provide. This is where men lose years trying to solve the wrong problem. They keep thinking, if I become more successful, more romantic, more available, more understanding, maybe she will finally be happy. So they change themselves again and again. They apologize when they are not wrong. They avoid harmless things just to prevent arguments. They begin walking carefully inside their own homes because they are afraid another complaint will appear. Eventually, the man is no longer living. He is managing someone else's emotional temperature. That is not what a healthy relationship should become. A woman who is capable of genuine happiness can still complain, become frustrated, disagree, or have difficult seasons. The difference is that she can also recognize what is good, appreciate effort, admit when she is wrong, and take responsibility for the emotional patterns she brings into the relationship. So when a man feels that nothing he does is ever enough, he should stop asking only how to please her and start looking at the larger pattern. Was she dissatisfied before you? Does every improvement quickly become another expectation? Does she regularly compare her life with others? Can she acknowledge her own role in conflict? Can she appreciate what she already has? Those answers will tell you far more than another apology ever will. You cannot repair an unhappiness you did not create. You can support someone, love someone, and grow with someone, but she must eventually take responsibility for her own inner life. If this message helped you see relationships differently, subscribe and stay with Isabella for more conversations about female psychology, relationships, and the lessons men often learn far too late.